Welcome to Own Your Mobico. This is Nicole, and I'm so excited to be introducing you all to a boother friend from that we've chatted on Instagram for a while. So I want to introduce you guys. And this is Brendan. Brendan, if you wouldn't mind sharing who you are and where you're from, what your business is called, all of that kind of stuff.
Hello, I am Brendan. I am the owner of Dream Day Entertainment. We are out of Wisconsin, near the capital of Wisconsin, in Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, cool.
And we do DJ, photo booth, and a few other things that we've recently added into the mix that me and you have been chatting about a little bit. So,
Yeah, audio guest books. That's kind of like how, yeah, we started chatting even in the beginning, I think, was made some big mistakes with an audio guest book purchase, and we've
yes.
kind of went through the ringer with that one. And I'll actually link below. I did a video talking about like four questions to ask to avoid the mistake that we made. So
Right. I remember that like the positive thing I said was like, well, at least it was a write-off we can use.
exactly. Oh my gosh.
Even if it didn't work out. So
Exactly. So yeah, I'm so excited to chat with you about something a little different. I think what prompted it was I think I did a post about becoming like getting on vendor preferred vendor list for wedding venue.
yeah. You did,
And
I think you did like that chamber meeting or something, and then that
yes,
kind of
and
sparked from there.
you wrote me back and you're like, "Oh yeah, this is like how we do 80% of our revenue and stuff." So
Yeah.
I'd love to chat with you more because I was like, "Oh, this is such an interesting take on it." Because you
Yep.
kind of flipped it in a way because I was saying like, oh, I wrote, using our email templates, I wrote to the venue and say, hey, what's the process for being on the preferred vendor list?
Hmm.
And you shared something different. So if you wouldn't mind just sharing with our audience, like what your process is with getting leads through vendors and through kind of like relationships and networking.
Yeah, a lot of it is just getting in with the vendor owners. Like if you have an event there, at least chat them up if they're at the venue, let them know who you are because they'll remember their conversation, maybe not necessarily an email that they
Yeah.
got because they see those all day long, like we do. As you know, some go to the spam folder. They're just like, oh, I don't know who this is. So yeah, my big thing was just getting to know owners. A lot of it was getting to know them through other vendors like photographers and wedding planners are like the big into a lot of those because a lot of the venue owners find wedding planners they like and they try to stick towards getting them in there because they know everything's going to run smoothly. So a lot of times if you get in good with a bunch of different wedding planners or organizers, you'll be like their number one pick that they'll send your way, which is really nice. So one of the ways that we did that was I just reached out to a few different planners that I'd worked with in the past. Obviously know who you're working with when you're working in events. Do like I know you do it, I know I do it, an Instagram reel or something that like recaps 30 to 90 seconds of your event and tag all the vendors that were in it, even if it's just the charcuterie board person. Like you never know what's going to come your way from that. They'll reshare it and like, oh cool, this person tagged me, this is awesome, even if you didn't even meet them. So it's kind of nice just networking that way. The big thing that I like to do is when I first got my salsa photo booth, it was really hard to just kind of like, oh hey, like I got this photo booth now. Oh cool, and
Yeah.
that's like the limit of the conversation. I had friends that owned venues, and I was like, hey, we have this salsa photo booth. It does this, this, this. Oh cool, didn't seem to, went in one ear, one out the other. So I just like, okay, cool. Maybe I can just offer this for free for a few events and that's like the foot in the door once they see how cool it is, once they see how awesome it is to work with us. So what I did was I just reached out to a few different wedding planners and I said, hey, you get 2 free photo booth packages to give to any couple that you want. Maybe it's a couple that's hard on their luck and like, really budgeting and really wanted a photo booth, whoever you want to give it to, or if it's somebody that's super cool that, would really like a photo booth, but, it just wasn't in their budget, or they're just like, oh, we don't need that, but it would be cool. You can give that to them. And they're like, is this for real? I was like, yeah, this is for real. Like, we'll do, this package. It'll be like the one with the video guest book too, like the top of the line package. So video guest book, and explained all the, when you spend it that way, and they're like, oh, cool. Tell me more. And then, then you get their interest. So I did that with wedding planners. I did that with a few venues. We have some concert venues in town as well that do anywhere from 1,000-person concert venue to 3,000-person concert venue. And I said, hey, do you want our, we do DJ nights there. So I'd be like, hey, do you want to do our photo booth, for free a couple times, just with the understanding that you'd at least book me in the future, at least once, to try it again. And we worked out the whole email thing where they could get the emails for the email list and all that. So we did that, and that was our into a lot of music venues. And now we do at least one or two a month at these music venues. If it's a concert that they just want to collect emails for to get on their their message list and all that, or if it's just a DJ night and they actually have us DJ too, and have the photo booth out there as well. So it's a really nice way to get your foot in the door without I guess sending just emails that they might not actually read. So, but emails are good too. Some people read them, but that was the way that we sort of did it.
I really love that because you kind of focus in on building a relationship that way. Mm-hmm. And I think that's such a great idea. I'm going to steal that idea because
definitely do.
Because even like with planners, their focus is on creating the best experience for their clients. And you're so right. Like with a venue, the venue is going to want somebody who's going to take care of their venue and who does a really good job and represents their venue well. And the venue knows that the planner is going to repost, post all the time and talk about how great this venue is because so I'm like, that's such a great connection. And oh yeah, like for sure, offering a free booth to a client that needs help, like that's such a great idea.
Yeah. So when I did offer the free ones, I offered just like the free digital package.
Yeah.
We don't do the prints like you do. So I just went all digital because we're, primarily a DJ service first. And I didn't want to deal with the printer stuff. I know I've asked you before, like, hey, what printer if I ever get into this? And you started giving me all the prices. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I think we're going to stick to digital for a little bit. But, I threw that in and like, hey, it goes right to their phone, and then they're like, oh, but I really want the printout. I'm like, but do you? Like, and I know like you sell printouts and that's a great thing. But the way that I get around that, I'd be like, well, you don't go and rent videos from the video store anymore. You stream everything. So we're streaming it right to your phone. Basically, that's how I'd like tie it in. And they're like, oh, cool. Stream it right to my phone. I know what that means. So it was kind of cool to do that. And now with the audio guest books, we're kind of doing the same thing, sending a few free ones to, either clients or the wedding planners and just saying, hey, pick a couple that might want this. Or even if like it comes up on a weekend where the couple's like, oh, no, we just want the DJ services. And we do their final consultation. I'll sometimes throw an audio guest book in and just say, hey, I got a new audio guest book I need to test out before I rent it out. Are you guys cool with it if it's for free? And then you get so many different people who want it just from seeing it rather than it just sitting in your closet or your storage unit that night. And you're not, it's not doing you any favors. So when you think about it, it's not retail. It's not like you're giving away like a ton of bananas and you're going to lose, you're going to lose on that. It's your service and it's your time. So if you put your time into it, you're going to get that many more people that look at it and be like, oh, that's a really cool idea. You can have a business card. We want to actually book that. And so you give a few away for free, but you get some in return that actually pay. So
totally. And you also mentioned that you create a list of like preferred vendors for yourself that you like.
We do. Yeah.
Can you
I put that on our website.
Yeah,
I put that on our website. It was photographers that a lot of times DJs and photographers, there's so many photographers and there's so many DJs. So a lot of times they'll remember that we worked together at the last venue, but we won't remember each other's name unless we tag each other in a lot of stuff and, create that rapport. Some photographers I'm with so often because the same wedding planners book the same photographers. So then we become friends. And we actually hang out outside of work. So it's kind of fun. So I just basically said, hey, these are my favorite caterers. Like, who's the best person to ask that's been to like 300 weddings? Who the best caterers in town are. The vendors that work all the events with the other caterers. So I kind of made that a website or a part off of our website. These are our favorite venues to work at. These are some of our favorite caterers. These are our favorite photographers. These are our favorite wedding planners. There's a recent videographer that I've just been networking with. And I really wanted this cool, like, video at the header of our website that showed our photo booth, that showed our DJing, kind of showed everything in action. And he captured that all at one of the venues that we're a preferred vendor list on. So I was like, hey, is there any way we can, barter like promotion? Like, I promote you guys so much a month, we tag you and everything to put that video on our header. And he's like, oh, of course, do it right away. That's great. So I've actually referred him to many people since then, because they're always like, oh, videographer, but yeah, he's on our website, check out our website, and they'll like look right at the top, and it shows the photo booth, they're throwing the money up in the air in slow motion, and shows the dance floor just bopping. It almost looks like a music video,
Yeah.
like it's like somebody's music video. It's that cool, like how they filmed it. So like, getting good with your videographers, if you can get high quality footage of people using your audio guest book or using your photo booth, that's money right there. And they're going to have video of that, so reach out to them if there is a videographer at your event, because they'll barter it for networking. So a lot of times you won't have to pay them for it, so it's kind of nice.
This is so good. So you briefly mentioned it earlier, because we kind of just like really jumped into it, but you do DJ, you do photo booths. What are some of the other things, and then audio guest books? Like what are the other things that are involved in your company and your business?
Throughout the week, when we're not at weddings and we're not meeting with couples or doing like site visits or anything like that, we actually host trivia throughout the week.
That's right.
So we have bar trivia at a bunch of different venues. One of the venues that I did the free photo booth for has us do a theme show once a month. So like this month it's Disney, music and movies. The next month it's like Parks and Rec versus The Office. We do like different themes, and we bring the photo booth and people dress up and then like take all the photos as like Dwight, from The Office or whatever.
So fun.
Best dress gets, a prize just for being best dressed, or, whatever the theme is. So we do that once a month with them. So that all sparked from that. Trivia, we've also, we've all done before the pandemic. Actually, I worked for a different trivia company. And when the pandemic hit, the guy didn't really have a pandemic plan. So I just said, hey, I'm just going to host online. If people find me cool, I'll just do it for tips, just something to do during the week because I'm stuck at home, and I kind of miss being out with all these people that followed me. And every single trivia team that followed me for the last couple of years found online, and I would do these trivia shows. The first trivia show I did during the pandemic, in tips alone, we made like over $1,000, just because people were like, hey, like your whole livelihood, everything you need, to get paid for is to be around people. So everyone was like super cool to like jump in right away. It was like 3 weeks into the pandemic where everyone was at home and there was like looking for something to do. So I made that like a weekly thing. And by, down the road, I did like 4 of those. And meanwhile, that whole company that I worked for kind of folded during the pandemic. So I just absorbed it into Dream Day Entertainment and just like, oh, cool, we offer trivia now. And then all the other people who worked for his company were like, hey, I don't want to lose my trivia spot. Like, can we host for you? So I was like, oh, sure. So somehow that became a thing. We're also adding, it's not on our website yet, but we're adding a new service very shortly that I've been kind of teasing on Instagram. I've been noticing that like 90% of our weddings, people have their dog walk down the aisle. Yeah. And I'm a big dog person. Obviously, if you go to our site, you'll see Phoenix, who's our junior VP. She's chewing around in the background. You might be able to hear. And she comes to all the meetings. If we meet in person, we'll usually meet somewhere dog friendly. And she like, blows the clients away. That they love the dogs. So I've noticed that like I'm a DJ, so I'm setting up super early. You probably know this too. You probably get there early, set up. You're a fly on the wall. You're overhearing conversations about what the staff's complaining about, or the friend of the family or something is complaining about something. And a lot of times they have to somebody's got to watch the dog until it's time to watch down the aisle. And a lot of times that person is like a friend or a family member or somebody in the wedding party, and then they got to run it home after, because the owners aren't going to do that. And a lot of the times that person is just like, oh, great, I got to watch the dog. And you can tell like most people are like annoyed by it because they're like, oh, I want to party, but I got to watch this dog, and some people are down with it, but you can kind of tell. I was like, I wonder, like during the pandemic when I did the online trivia, I also started Dream Dog Entertainment, where I did dog walking for people that had to work at home that also had kids that couldn't really get their dog out, and their dog was driving them nuts while they're on these conference calls like this. And a lot of my clients were people who I did their wedding and DJ'd for. So I became like closer friends with them, and my dog became friends with their dogs. And I would find like 5 dogs that all could go to the park at the same time, and I'd knock out like 5 1-hour trips in 1 hour. So I was like, we should bring back Dream Dog Entertainment. So now when our photo booths aren't booked out or our audio guest book runners aren't running stuff out, we're actually going to have Dream Dog Entertainment come back. So if you need like us to pick up your dog or hang out with your dog beforehand, walking down the aisle, take it back home, we're going to be offering those services. So it's kind of a way to like offer something that other DJs aren't really doing in our area. I'm always trying to find that next big thing. Like audio guest book or trivia or anything like that. So that's our next thing. We haven't announced it yet, but maybe by the time this airs, it'll be announced on our site. So
Exclusive. I love it.
you got the exclusive. So yeah, nobody in our area is really doing it. And we're just finalizing things with the insurance, what insurance that entails.
Yeah.
If it goes with what we already have, we're going to get something different. So it's definitely going to be legit though. So
that is such a good idea. There's a company that does that in Florida.
Is there? Okay.
That is what they do.
Probably like all they do. Yeah.
That is all they do. And they have like their super trained, like they look so legit, and it's a need. It's a for sure
yeah.
need.
Yeah. There's people that, it might not be a need until they know that it's a service, and they're just like, you know what? We don't want our friends to be a burden. Let's just do that. That's why they hired, vendors, because we don't want our friends to be burdened making a potluck or something. So,
exactly. Or they really wanted to include their dog and didn't have a way to do it, so they're like, oh, now they can't include our dog. And I've
had so many couples that I was like, oh, where's your dog? Because I'd meet their dog at the meeting or see them on our Zoom meeting or something, and they're like, oh, we didn't bring the dog, so nobody, we don't want to burden anyone with watching it. And I'm just like, how do we rectify that? Like, maybe we can fix that. Cool. So
great idea. Awesome. I love that. So
I'm always doing a pandemic pivot, even after the pandemic. I'm always trying something new, so
well, that's brilliant. And I love that you're constantly evolving and innovating and thinking of new ideas.
You have to. Yeah.
I agree.
Everyone's eventually going to have everything you have. So if it's a good idea, like the audio guest book, I see other DJs. We are the first ones, and now there's other ones popping up with it. It's like, you're going to put it out there, but you can't keep the secret. It's like the recipe of herbs and spices. Like, somebody's going to figure it out. So you have to keep coming up with new stuff.
It has been like wildfire, honestly, the audio guest book. So yeah. It's kind of cool to kind of be on the front of it.
Here's a cool thing though, as well. I actually don't go against other people who have the same stuff as me. I actually try to network with them. So I started like a DJ co-op for a lot of the DJ companies that don't have like a fleet of DJs, where we help each other out. So it's like, hey, I tested positive for COVID. I don't know what to do. Hey, we have somebody available. Let's tag in. And then vice versa. Or if, hey, we're full this year, on this date, I'll send them to you. You send them to me, and obviously we fully vet them to know that they're like going to do a good job. We're not just sending somebody, someone that we don't know is going to do a good job. Same with the photo booth company. The first photo booth, I actually tag teamed with a guy who had the same one as me. He was a photographer, and he's got a family, and he kind of gave up on the grind and the hustle, and eventually just sold me his booth because I was booking it so much. So I ended up getting his salsa booth. So the second one, we would just do like a percentage deal. Like, if you don't have a second booth, find someone else that does. Just be like, hey, if can we subcontract your booth that night if it's available, and you get a percentage, we get a percentage, and work things out with other people around. You don't have to be like, oh, it's us versus them. Just bring everyone together. You get that much more business. And it's like, oh, we're already booked that day, we'll send him to this guy. We know he has one. We know he's cool. We know he's legit. So we've been doing that with DJing and photo booth and audio guest book. Now there's another guy who's only got one, and I was like, I got 6. Like, if you need an extra one, we'll work out some sort of deal. So a lot of our stuff's just referrals, networking, and being on preferred vendor lists, and make a co-op with people that and work together. Don't try to always be at war with the other people who do the same thing as you, because you never know, they're just as helpful. They could be really cool. So
how much would you say, like, revenue wise, your photo booth comprises your total business? Would you say like 50-50, or is it DJ mostly?
DJ and trivia is weekly. So I would say the photo booth right now for us, it could be better, but it's probably like 30 to 40% if I really sat down and thought about it. I'm always offering it, more often, always, grinding on that. If we did prints, I feel like it might be more, which is why I was asking you about that. So, which I'm always, thinking about if it's worth it or not. But sometimes the hassle, when we have so much else going on with the DJing, trying to go and check a printer while I'm trying to keep a dance floor going is kind of tough. So,
right. Do you have attendants then that man your photo booths when you're DJing, and you have that there with you?
Most of the time, yeah. And it's more so, to help people, but more so to make sure you babysit so it doesn't get tipped over and crashed by drunk people, because that happened with my first digital photo booth. The first night out, drunk people fell on top of it and broke it. So, and that wasn't a salsa, that was a different one. So,
how many booths do you have, and what are they? You wouldn't
I
mind.
have two salsa ones right now. That other one just got trashed, and it was kind of like our situation where we bought that first audio guest book together that didn't work out.
Yeah.
That one, the hype was there, but they didn't offer, the people calling you like Salsa did, like Photo Booth Supply Co. So I like really vetted Photo Booth Supply Co. Like, I mean, I had so many conversations with them on the phone physically before I actually bought, because I got taken for a ride on the one before that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, right now we just have the two salsa booths.
Awesome.
And then we have one other company that has a couple of them as well. So we'll, lend out to them, or they'll lend out to us if we need more. So.
That's great. So I would love to, this is kind of like a hot topic. And I know I prepped you with this question beforehand, but I've had personally like pretty negative experiences with DJs who also offer photo booths. And
just them, or just, are there any that are just DJs that don't offer photo booths that you've had bad things with too? Or is it just ones that have photo
most
booths?
of the time, like DJs are pretty great. And then there's just like one or two kind of DJs that I meet who kind of really devalued the idea that a photo booth is like its sole business or like
Oh,
on its own.
so they were upset they booked you and not them for the photo booth.
Exactly. That
But
was
did they have the same one as you? Like, what,
yes.
Okay.
So the exact conversation was, I need to fire my secretary because I don't know why you're here. I have the same photo booth as you.
Oh, okay.
So it was.
What did you say to that? Like, what was your response?
I literally, because we had clients, the client was like, people were around. I wanted to
Right.
say
That's kind of rude.
super rude. We ended
Wow.
up having a conversation later where because it was like I came with a glam booth, and obviously like he's not doing glam, like he can't do
Oh, yeah. He's probably just setting up and letting it flow.
exactly. So
Maybe setting everything to auto instead of calibrating, like for the lighting and everything, right?
exactly. It was
That's
totally
what most DJs do.
That's what yes, that's exactly what I want to talk about. So a lot of DJs will have it just as an accessory, as an add-on, like, oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
totally, just rent this under me. I'll give it for you dirt cheap. And then you have photo booth owners who this is like all that they do. This is their entire business that they've built up.
Yeah.
And we're either devalued or like it's competitive and weird and awkward. What would you say to maybe to a photo booth owner who wants to go into the business and doesn't want to have that like competitive thing with a DJ? Like, where would you say the difference is? And have you ever been in a place where you're like competitive against a photo booth owner?
Not a photo booth owner, to be honest. If they book someone else, it's probably because they did printouts and we don't do that.
Yeah.
But I have run into issues before with or not so much issues, but like wedding planners or photographers just saying like, oh, you're the most approachable DJ we've ever talked to. Some DJs are just like, they think that they're like celebrities or something, and they kind of talk down to people, and maybe they don't realize they're doing it. Or, I mean, to me, that's someone who's just been doing it so long they've got complacent in what they do, and I guess gets a big head about it. But as far as like them saying stuff like that to you, obviously, if you're gonna just be a photo booth owner, you don't have to be a DJ. This company may or may not offer all the same things that you do. They probably don't know that you can just say, oh, own your moment photo booth. Cool. I don't know how to do this. Oh, Nicole posted a video on how to do that. Like, does this guy have all the knowledge you have? Probably not. But at the same time, it's not like a pissing contest. Like,
Yeah.
just be like, oh, cool, man. They're sorry. Like we got the booking, like don't get in fights with people over it. If they want to be salty about it, let them. But, you're going to put more value into learn everything about yours that you can do. Like we said, the photography guy that originally had our other salsa booth would set it up without a backdrop and just like facing out to a crowd, maybe to dance floor lights. And the photos always looked awful. And he wouldn't calibrate. He just did auto. He wouldn't do like manual exposure and extra lighting like we use. We use the extra lights, and I always talked about that. And learn everything you can about how to make your product look the best it can do. Because it's easy to just set it up and go auto, but you're not going to get the best quality out of that. And then there's a lot of people forget about this too with salsa. There's a whole portfolio link that you can make with your best galleries and like put them in there and be like, hey, this is kind of what it'll look like. Hey, this is your venue. Check this one out. And you can send people like what it'll look like at your venue. Hey, this venue, most people use the brick wall because it looks awesome compared to any like fake brick wall thing I can give you. So here you go. Check this out. So you can do things like that. Whereas, they're just like, oh, well, we DJ too, but like we have the photo booth. So you might get a little, I don't know if you get a little bit cheaper, but you're probably not going to get 100% the quality in most cases. I mean, in my case, you would, because I take the time to look into all that stuff. But at the same time, just do you the best you can do. And if that's what you want to do, I mean, there's a market for everything. There's enough business for everybody. And that's kind of why we started our little co-op with a bunch of like other vendors, just because it's like, hey, we're better off just helping each other, there's enough business for everybody. I turned away like 40 weddings this last year because for this year, because we're already booked, but we've sent them to other people. And now in turn, next year, if they're already booked on some dates, they send to us. So, help each other out and you'll get more gigs there.
Yeah. Community over competition for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
I think that answered your question. Sorry, I kind of went on there.
For sure. It's so much more about like, what experience do you provide and making sure you do oh my gosh.
This is Phoenix, by the way. She wanted to say hi. Look.
Oh my gosh, so cute.
Say hi.
Oh
she helps book
like,
all the gigs. Bring a dog, and they'll be like, we're going with him. He's got a dog. He can't be a bad person.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Yeah. So
okay, sorry.
No, just like focusing on providing the best experience possible for your client. And if they choose to go with a DJ who provides a photo booth, that's great. They probably provided a better package than what you could provide, or like a complete experience with coupling it with the photo booth and the DJ, whatever. But yeah.
And you might have an attendant where they don't, they're off in the corner DJ. And if something goes wrong, they got to run over and, take care of it.
Exactly. And so you'll find the clients that want an attendant or want that specific experience that is valuable, that they find value in. So focus on that. And I think I love that.
There's so many little intricate things that you don't think about. Like when I first had the salsa booth, I sent it out the way it was without extra lighting and didn't set anything to calibrate anything. And I was like, why does this look so pink? And then I'd slowly, I need to do more research before I offer this out again. And then I even that was part of my thing. Hey, cool. Do you mind if we do this for free? And, we're trying to narrow in on all of our settings and learn our own product. So do you mind having a free booth at your dog rescue event? So we'll hit up the local dog rescues and things like that and offer it for free for them. It's just like a way for us to get out there. If I have somebody new on the photo booth that needs training, we'll send them out to that, and you have a training show. So it's kind of nice.
I love it. Okay. So, money isn't always a measure of success, but would you mind sharing with our listeners what your best year looked like?
Probably it's probably the year after everything started opening up from COVID again. I don't know exact figures and numbers, but I know that usually new businesses, you're not going to bank a lot of money in the first couple of years because you have to put it into what you paid. And taxes are a huge thing too. So learn about taxes, because that's an eye opener for small businesses, how much more that, we pay than Amazon and things like that. So I would say probably the year after everyone started being comfortable having events again. So that'd be 2021. I want to say halfway through 2021. I did more weddings than I'd ever done before, but at the same time I sat home for almost 2 years. So I was like, I'm ready. So maybe 30, I think we did 45 or 50 weddings, and I did 32 of those. And then I actually added salsa during my downtime and during the pandemic. I added the photo booth services during the pandemic. I was researching during the pandemic, taking all this time to learn about different stuff that we can do to make more, more of a profit. And I think it had to be 2021. That's probably the best, just because everyone was gung ho to book again. And I don't know, were you in business during 2020 yet or no?
No.
Okay.
Is when it started.
So a lot of how I launched everything, I'd worked for another company in town where I ran the show, but I couldn't get I couldn't get higher than boss, basically, or owner. So I wanted to make decisions that they wouldn't allow me to make. And I was like, I need a new challenge. I want to do this on my own. So 2019, I decided that I'm going to start Dream Day Entertainment. And you use that whole year to build up all your weddings for 2020. I did like 2 weddings in 2020 and the world shut down. So I'm like, oh, and I took all these deposits, and I'm starting to see all these venues and stuff get negative reviews because they kept people's deposits, even though it's like in the contract. So I actually did a more admirable approach, and as much as it hurt my pocketbook, I gave everyone their deposits back that had to cancel their weddings. But the karma went a long way in the long run later on, as they're like, hey, we're ready to have our wedding now in 2022. We're booking you because you gave us our money back when no one else did, things like that. So I think a lot of that had to do with our better years down the road, just because people are like, hey, go with this guy. He gave my sister her deposit back and he didn't have to, things like that. So yeah, it was definitely 2021, but yeah, my launch year was 2020 and we got hit pretty hard. So yeah, awesome. it was rough. So like I said, we're not banking hundreds of thousands of dollars right now. I mean, we're still paying things off, but we're living comfortable. So
that's awesome. Well,
and we're having fun.
Yeah, so. Exactly. You're having fun. You made a business for yourself in hard times. So yeah, winning all around for sure. Okay. So one of the last questions I want to ask is pretty much directed towards kind of the viewers. The viewers most of them are either interested in photo booths or interested in adding photo booths to their business, kind of like you, where they're DJs, they're adding on to their business. If you could maybe go back to when you first started, what would you say to somebody who is looking into that and wanting to do it and is maybe cautious or concerned? Like, what's some advice you would give?
Like wanting to start a new business or wanting to add something?
A photo booth specifically, yeah, like wanting to start a photo booth business or wanting to add photo booth business to their
research. Reach out to other people who tag those brands. I did the same thing recently with like new uplights that we bought. I saw other DJs that had hashtagged them, so I reached out, hey, are these like legit? Because I don't know the brand as well, but the price is right. So research. As we said earlier, you and I kind of bought the wrong phone to begin with for the Audio Guest Book. There's so many out there. We kind of bought the wrong one. I bought the wrong photo booth when I first wanted to do it, and that kind of set me back a little bit. So yeah, do your research, and the longer you wait, the longer it's going to take for you to either make the money you want to make or, make that move. And the longer it's going to take for everyone else to jump on whatever the trend is, like everyone else is going to have it already. So a lot of times you kind of have to make that move and make those decisions ahead of time. Like we said with the Audio Guest Book, we're one of the first ones in town to do that. So if you really have an idea, like don't just be like, oh, I have this cool idea, and then just never do anything with it. Like actually do something with your ideas. You'd be surprised how much they work out. So you kind of had the same story, right? With you starting this, you had something else going on, and you're just like, oh, I'm cool. I'm gonna start this business, and now look at you. Now you're like training people like how to do their stuff. And that's the best. It's the best of both worlds to actually put a lot of time and product into some, or a lot of your time into something or into a product, and having people recognize you for it and book it, and it feels good. So I'd say just do it, but research. That's
so good. Just do it, but make sure you're prepared. And
yep. And you might make mistakes, but like we said, hey, at least it's a write-off for the business. So like look at the positives.
Exactly. And you learn from it. And had we never like made that jump or made that decision or made that purchase, like we wouldn't be here with what we have. So everything is a learning opportunity is how I look. So the more mistakes, the better, because you learn and you grow.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, and that and like once you do get started, network with people that you reached out to, because they'll help you along the way. So it always helps. Like we have this venue coming up that I hadn't been to much. I called one of the other DJ companies that I always see that's tagged there and just said, hey, cool, can I get a heads up on like the layout and what I need? Like they saved me so much time because I don't have to bring an extra speaker that I was going to bring, and I have to load in all this extra stuff. So, networking with people can save so much time. So it's nice.
That's awesome.
And you're going to run into people that don't want to network too, but don't take it personally.
That's true.
Some,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Some people are about themselves. So
Yeah. Well, you're not like that. And I so
no.
appreciate your positivity, and I love your attitude of community over competition. I think that's a great takeaway from today. And
Yeah.
jumping into something and jumping into new ideas and constantly thinking of new things to do in your business. I think that's awesome. So I
Yeah.
so appreciate your time. Do you have any
Yeah.
last thoughts or words of advice for any of our viewers today?
I guess the one last thing we didn't really touch on earlier is if you see new venues popping up or like new wedding venues in your area, like reach out to them and just be like, oh, cool. Can I get a tour? Or, hey, we'd like to, if you have your open house, we'd like to offer our DJ services or our photo booth, and that new venue's gonna be like, oh, cool. Like this person came to me. Now we have a photo booth for our open house. And of course they're going to put you like on their list and take you out for the rest of the way. So look out for those too, because there's always a lot of different, you might be just starting your photo booth company. There's somebody who's just starting their wedding venue, that's their next step. So you can always find people like that and network with them like on the ground floor and get in, with them.
I agree. Yeah, being so strategic with your free and like not being afraid to offer stuff for free, but also being like strategic in it and not strategic in like a tricky way, but like in a purposeful, like let's help each other way.
Yeah. The other thing too, like local schools, just go in and print out if you're doing the printout stuff, like print out stuff with their logo on it and be like, hey, you need somebody for prom, and we normally have like the regular, DSL or whatever, but this is what we have, and all the kids are about the boomerangs and the gifts, and teach them with the different methods you have. Like Salsa has the proposal tool, which shows what the backdrops will look like, and you can set up multiple booths at a prom, because there's probably hundreds of kids there. So that's another way you can do things too. We've got a lot of school gigs because of stuff like that, just reaching out and saying, hey, cool, we can do this, we'll do the first one for free and then book us, at least once down the year, and next thing you know, you're their new favorite vendor. So
right. This is such good. I think everyone's going to take so much good gold nuggets out of this. Like
I hope so. Yeah. Take it and run. Take it and run with it.
I so appreciate it. This has been really, really great conversation. So where can people find you? Where can they connect with you if they have any questions about DJing with photo booths, all that stuff?
Yeah. So our website's Dream Day Entertainment. Dream Day. A lot of people want to say daydream because it sounds so much.
Oh yeah.
Completely different thing. But we're Dream Day Entertainment out of Wisconsin, and then you can find us on Facebook. The same thing, Dream Day Entertainment. I'm very responsive to messaging, and Instagram, Dream Day Entertainment as well, all one word. And I don't do the TikTok thing yet. I didn't really jump on that bandwagon, but yeah, we do the Instagram, we do the Facebooks and the online website. So you can find us that way. There's a contact form on there too, or however reach out, and definitely down to talk if you need to network or ask any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'll put our Facebook group down below. I'll put it linked, and I'll have like an area where we can ask direct questions to, and I'll link the video and all that stuff. So you can connect with them on there too. So
press here and here.
Yeah.
Here's the link.
Don't forget to follow and like. Yeah. Well, thank you again so much. And I hopefully we'll chat again soon. And
I'm sure we will. I'll probably have a question for you.
Yeah. And I wish you all the success in your new endeavors with.
Oh yeah. I'll let you know how that works out.
Yes. I would love to know. Okay. We will chat soon.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.